All right, Miles, let's talk about Los Angeles Rams here for a little bit. The Rams this offseason, they've been very active. Some of the moves I'm sure a lot of Rams fans haven't been as excited about. There's been some news that may be a little disappointing, but there's a new report out of the Rams organization that is great news going forward for the Rams as they look ahead to 2023.
Yeah, Nick, the Rams have done a lot of good stuff. I think there's a lot of interesting moves they made, but that's why we want to know from the fans. What do you think? That's the important part. What have you thought of the Rams offseason so far? Let us know in the comments below what your grade for the Rams offseason has been, and maybe a little bit as why you think that is. But also, Nick, I want everyone to stay tuned to the end of today's video from a special word from today's partner, Neuro. But Nick, what is some good news for the Rams?
Yeah, so I'm sure a lot of fans of the Rams organization have spent the past few weeks a little nervous, right? Because obviously they moved off Jalen Ramsey. They traded him to Miami. Bobby Wagner is no longer Ram. He's back with Seattle. A lot of these big name guys that have been part of the Rams at least last season, and in some case, like in Ramsey's case, all the way back to their Super Bowl season, are no longer part of the Los Angeles Rams organization. But what really matters when it comes to the NFL, Miles, there's really two things that really matter. You have to have the right coach and you have to have a good quality quarterback. Obviously, the Rams have the right coach, McVay, and they had a good quality quarterback. Unfortunately, most of last season, he was injured and beat up. But there's a great report from Sports Illustrated that shows that Matt Stafford is as healthy as he's ever been. So this is according to Sports Illustrated. According to head coach Sean McVay, those injury problems are now a thing of the past, and Stafford will be a full go for OTAs, organized team activities, mini camps, and training camp this spring. Sean McVay said, quote, "There will be no limitations. He'll be ready to roll." All right, Miles, I'm sure a lot of Rams fans will remember that Stafford has had limitations for a long time. In fact, pretty much his entire Rams career, especially last offseason, he was not active at all, had some limitations during training camp, and of course, the injuries during the season. And the fact that Stafford could be healthy the entire offseason and then hopefully during the entire season is huge for LA, because I think a lot of people forget that this Rams team has the ability to be a legitimate playoff contender and potentially make a run at a Super Bowl, right? They got the right coach, like I said. They got a quality quarterback when healthy. They have Cooper Kupp, who a lot of people are sleeping on. This guy is one of, if not the best offensive playmaker in the game. And they still have Aaron Donald, who, by the way, is one of the greatest defensive players of all time and is still playing at a high level. They've lost some guys. The roster's not as deep as it needs to be in some spots. And, they've got some young guys that are going to have to step up. But when you look at the top of the roster and the positions in the areas that really matter, the Rams are set up for success going to 2023, especially if Matthew Stafford is healthy. And according to this report, it looks like he will be, which is great news for the Rams. Miles, give me your thoughts on the Stafford report and everything with the Rams right now.
Yeah, Nick, I think the Rams are in a pretty good spot. Like you said, they've got the playmakers on offense. They've got a game wrecker on the defensive line like they've always had in Aaron Donald. But, Nick, I just think the most important part is they're still in the NFC, who talent-wise isn't as competitive as the AFC has been in the past couple of years. You look at all of the talent coming out of the AFC lately. You see the Bengals. You see, Chargers. You got Chiefs. You got all kinds of talented young quarterbacks. I think the Rams have a really good shot to win the division still with everything going on. And that is especially so with Matthew Stafford. Because, look, you got Seattle Seahawks, who they're a fringe playoff team at this point. They've been getting better, but still they're very beatable. You've got the Cardinals, dumpster fire. You don't even really have to worry about them. And you got the 49ers, who have three different quarterbacks that are all splitting first-team reps. Brock Purdy's not even healthy. They're obviously a really solid roster, but they don't have the quarterback position filled out like the Rams do. That's the most important part, as we just said. And we don't even know who it's going to be day one as of this time. So I think the Rams look really good in their division. I think being on the NFC side of things, if they can make the playoffs, they can make a deep run. So I like the position they're in, Nick, and I like that Stafford is healthy, because a healthy Stafford is a Rams team that can make a really good playoff run.
Miles, there is only one coach in the NFC. I believe I'm going off the top of my head here, so if I'm wrong, please correct me. That there's only one coach in the NFC that has a Super Bowl championship ring as a head coach, and that's Sean McVay. There's only one quarterback in the NFC starting right now. I believe that's won a Super Bowl coming out of the NFC. That's Matthew Stafford. They're still the most experienced, the most battle tested, the most hardened team out of any team in the NFC. And you brought a great point, Miles. If you look at that division, they have arguably the best coach in McVay. They have arguably the best overall player in Aaron Donald. They have probably the best quarterback. I don't even think it's that close in Matthew Stafford. And they have the best offensive weapon in Cooper Kupp. Now, obviously, look at the teams like the 49ers have maybe a better overall roster, but when you look at the top of the roster in terms of the key positions, offensive playmaker, quarterback, coach, defensive superstar, game wrecker, like you said, the Rams check every box. And with that, when that comes to mind, you look at a team that's ready to potentially win the division or at least make a run of the playoffs. And like you said, Miles, it is not as talented as an NFC as it's been in past years. I think a lot of teams are really sleeping on the Rams. And if Matthew Stafford can stay healthy and continue to, make sure he doesn't re-injure himself through the offseason, through training camp as they go into the season in 2023, this team will be dangerous.
Yeah, Nick, and I think you make a really great point here. Bring it up. And I believe, you're right, because if we do the math, Pete Carroll did win a Super Bowl, but also by not running the ball with Marshawn Lynch, that's like a negative Super Bowl. So he comes back down to 0.
Yeah,
and the Rams are just a really talented team. And I like exactly everything you say. I agree with it 100%. So I like the Rams, and I like a weaker NFC. So I want to see how far they go this season.
All right, Miles, we would like to give a special thanks to our partner today's video, Neuro.
That's right, Nick. And I want you to go with me on a journey really fast. I want you to imagine this. It's 4th and goal in the big game, Nick. Your team is relying on you to make the big-time game-winning play. I know you've been in this situation before, Nick. The stadium is roaring. The clock is ticking. The game is on the line. But if only in that moment you were able to have some Neuro Gum. Neuro Gum will help you stay concentrated, and it gives you a burst of energy without a nasty crash.
That's right, Miles. Neuro has thoughtfully curated ingredients and does endless lab testing, which means that you can reach the right state of mind safely and consistently. That's the most important part. It gives you a clean burst of energy and focus without the jitters of coffee or any of those other energy drinks.
That's right, Nick. And if you click our sponsor link in the description below, you can enjoy energy, calm, and focus whenever you need it.